Daisy Time by Marjorie Pickthall. See, the grass is full of stars fallen in their brightness. Hearts they have of shining gold, rays of shining whiteness. Buttercups have honeyed hearts, bees they love the clover, but I love the daisy's dance all the meadow over. Blow, oh blow, you happy winds, singing summer's praises, up the field and down the field, a-dancing with the daisies. Today is a special day. It's the beginning of week 4 and lesson 16, but we have another surprise today too. Before we can get to our surprise, we need to say the letters of the alphabet. Ready? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. How did you do? Can you do it by yourself? This time we're going to do it again, and I'm going to whisper. So I'll help you a little bit, but I want you to see if you can say it out loud all by yourself. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Did you do it loud? Or did you have to listen for my voice? Can you say them all by yourself yet? Maybe if you don't have it quite down, you can go back to the beginning of this video and start all over again and practice a few times. Now, I'll show you something else we've been working on. Some more letters. I'll try not to spill them. So here we have the 5 letters we've been working on. Do you remember the name of this group of letters? These are called the 5 vowels. A, E, I, O, and U are all vowels. All the other letters, they are not vowels. We call them consonants. But these are the 5 vowels. If I say, what are the 5 vowels? Then you should say A, E, I, O, and U. So what are the 5 vowels? Now let's talk just for a minute and say what are the sounds that these 5 vowels make. What is A's sound? A says ah. What is E's sound? E says eh. What is I sound? I says I. What is O sound? O says ah. And what is U's sound? U says If you can say all those by yourself, then you know all 5 vowels and you're doing very good. Well, today our surprise is that we begin learning our consonants. Now, when you can read a few consonants, since you already know your vowels, that means you can start reading words. So the consonant that we're going to learn today is the letter T. That is the name of this letter. See here on my card, I have capital T, little t. Capital T, little t. Now here I have a cursive T. Cursive capital T, cursive little t. So what is the name of our new letter? The name of our letter is T. Here, I have another one to show you. This is one of our letter tiles. This is the letter T. Okay, now you might be wondering, well, its name is T, but what sound does it make? Well, what is this picture? Do you know what that's a picture of? Of course you do. That's a tree. It's a tree. And at the beginning of the word tree, we hear the t, t, t sound. That's because the letter T says t. We can say T says t as in tree. T says t, t, t. This one is almost the same. This is a tree stump. So somebody chopped down this tree, maybe it was rotten or dead, and so all that's left is a stump, but we call this a tree stump. T, 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 tree stump. What does the letter T say? T says t, t. So what does the letter A say? A says ah. What does the letter T say? T says t. What does the letter E say? E says eh. What does the letter T say? T says t. What does the letter I say? I says eh. What does T say? T says t. What does the letter O say? O says ah. What does T say? T says t. What does the letter U say? U says Last time. What does the letter T say? T says t. Okay. Can you think of any other words that has the sound t at the beginning? First one I think of is t, t, tiger. Another t word would be top. How about trampoline? How about tiptoe? Tiptoe. T words. I said top. How about tap? I just thought of the word Tupperware. Maybe you don't care about Tupperware, but that's the word that I thought of. Tupperware. How about train? Did I already say tightrope? I keep on thinking of the word tight. How about tights? Do you wear tights? Topple. Don't topple over. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. I'm sitting at the table. Table starts with the letter T because T says t. Okay, let's say our clue word again. T says t as in tree. T says t, t, t. Do you think you're going to remember that tomorrow? Will you remember our new letter? Well, that is our surprise today, and we are all done. Okay, I'm going to show you how to write the letter T. This is not the cursive T. This is manuscript T. So for the letter T, you draw a line across the top, then you start at the top and go all the way down to the floor. That is capital T. For small t, we start here, go down to the floor, and then draw a line, kind of like to make a cross. There is little t. Let's start today with our numbers. Our numbers are out of order. Can you tell me what this number is? This number is 7, 2, 4, 6. This is the number 6 here. 3, 1, 8, and this is the number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's see if we can find them and put them in order. Start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Well, today we're going to start something different. We have been practicing counting to 20, or to 10. We've been counting to 10. But starting today, we are going to learn how to count to the number 20. Okay. We'll start over here with the number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can do all of those by yourself already. Let's go on. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and number 20. We'll stop right there. Okay, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, let's talk about some shapes. I have 2 shapes drawn here, and they are very, very similar. They're almost exactly the same, but they're not. See this shape right here? It has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. It has 4 sides and 4 corners, 4 angles right here. Well, this one down here, this also has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Well, if this one has 4 sides and this one has 4 sides, are they the same shape? No, they're not the same shape. I'll tell you why. There's one difference between this one and this one. When we look at this one, every side is the same length. It's the same here as here. This is called a square. But if you look at this one has 2 shorter sides here and here, and it has 2 longer sides here and here. If a shape has 2 shorter sides and 2 longer sides, then it's called a rectangle. This one is a square. They're all the same. And this is a rectangle. It has two longer sides. Square and rectangle. Okay, what are we going to do next? I'm going to show you a new numbers card. Look at all those beetles. I wonder which number this is. Well, how can we find out? The only way I know to find out is by counting all the beetles. So let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This right here is the number 9. The number 9 has a ball on top with, sometimes it's written with a little loop and sometimes it's like a slicky slide. Down like that. But this is the number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, I have 9 things here to count. You can help me. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we put them in 3 nice groups of 3, like this, it makes it a little bit easier to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When we write the number 9, we draw a ball and then slicky slide down to the floor. That is the number 9. We're back for review for lesson 16. Remember, today we learned the letter T. T says T as in tree. T says T, T, T. Now I don't know what kind of tree this is. It's just a tree. T, T, tree. Remember, we had the tree stump and we had our letter tile with the letter T. T, T. Well, I thought of some other words that start with the sound T. Teeth and tongue, table, tent, and tub. Old MacDonald had a farm, A-E-I-O-U, and on that farm he had a cat, ah, with an ah here and a there, here and there and everywhere and Old MacDonald had a farm, ah. Old MacDonald had a farm, A-E-I-O-U, and on that farm he had a hen, with an here and a there, here and there and everywhere and Old MacDonald had a farm, Old MacDonald had a farm, A-E-I-O-U, and on that farm he had a pig, I, with an I here and an I there, here an I, there an I, everywhere an I. Old MacDonald had a farm, A-E-I-O-U. Old MacDonald had a farm, A-E-I-O-U, and on that farm he had a dog, ah, with an here and a there, here an there an everywhere an ah. Old MacDonald had a farm, A-E-I-O-U. Old MacDonald had a farm, A-E-I-O-U, and on that farm he had a duck, uh, 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 with an here and a there, here and there and everywhere and Old MacDonald had a farm, A-E-I-O-U. I'm going to show you how to write the cursive T. Let's start with capital T. You start on the red dot here up at the ceiling. You curve down about halfway to the dotted line, then curve back up. When you get to the ceiling, you kind of draw a little dip in the line, then go down to the floor all the way down to the red carpet. Curve up, not all the way to the dotted line, almost, and then slicky slide down and out. Try it one more time. Start at the red dot, curve down about halfway, go back up, make a little dip, slide down to the floor, curve back up. I always said that this right here looks like a boat, part of a ship. We curve back up almost to the dotted line, then slicky slide out. Whee! Now, to make a small cursive T, we start down here on the red carpet on the red dot. We slant our way up about halfway to the middle of the upstairs. Trace back down, swing out, and then we say we cross our T. Start at the red carpet, slant up halfway to the middle of the upstairs, trace back down, swing out, and cross your T. The Tale of Benjamin Bunny. About this book. The real-life Benjamin Bunny was a tame rabbit of Beatrix Potter's, whom she sketched constantly, and whose exploits continually amused her. He is an abject coward, but believes in bluster, could stare our old dog out of countenance, chase a cat that has turned tail. Although Benjamin had died by 1904 when this story was published, Beatrix may well have been thinking of him when she created Peter Rabbit's cousin Benjamin. Little Benjamin is a very self-possessed animal who makes himself quite at home in Mr. McGregor's garden. Beatrix sketched background scenes for the tale while on holiday at Fall Park, a house with a beautiful garden in the Lake District. The book is dedicated to the children of Sorry from old Mr. Bunny. Beatrix was later to settle in the Lake District village of Sorry, building a small farm there in 1905. One morning, a little rabbit sat on a bank. He pricked his ears and listened to the trit-trot of a pony. A gig was coming along the road, It was driven by Mr. McGregor, and beside him sat Mrs. McGregor in her best bonnet. As soon as they had passed, little Benjamin Bunny slid down onto the road and set off with a hop, skip, and a jump to call upon his relations who lived in the wood at the back of Mr. McGregor's garden. That wood was full of rabbit holes, and in the neatest, sandiest hole of all lived Benjamin's aunt and his cousins, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. Old Mrs. Rabbit was a widow. She earned her living by knitting rabbit wool mittens and muffetees. I once bought a pair at a bazaar. She also sold herbs and rosemary tea and rabbit tobacco, which is what we call lavender. Little Benjamin did not very much want to see his aunt. He came round the back of the fir tree and nearly tumbled upon the top of his cousin Peter. Peter was sitting by himself. He looked poorly and was dressed in a red cotton pocket handkerchief. "Peter," said little Benjamin in a whisper, "who has got your clothes?" Peter replied, "The scarecrow in Mr. McGregor's garden," and described how he had been chased about the garden and had dropped his shoes and coat. Little Benjamin sat down beside his cousin and assured him that Mr. McGregor had gone out in a gig, and Mr. McGregor also, and certainly for the day, because she was wearing her best bonnet. Peter said he hoped that it would rain. At this point, old Mrs. Rabbit's voice was heard inside the rabbit hole, calling, "Cottontail! Cottontail! Fetch some more chamomile!" Peter said he thought he might feel better if he went for a walk. They went away hand in hand and got upon the flat top of the wall at the bottom of the wood. From here they looked down into Mr. McGregor's garden. Peter's coat and shoes were plainly to be seen upon the scarecrow, topped with an old tam-o'-shanter of Mr. McGregor's. Little Benjamin said, "It spoils people's clothes to squeeze under a gate. The proper way to get in is to climb down a pear tree." Peter fell down head first, but it was of no consequences, as the bed below was newly raked and quite soft. It had been sown with lettuces. They left a great many odd little footmarks all over the bed, especially little Benjamin, who was wearing clogs. Little Benjamin said that the first thing to be done was to get back Peter's clothes, in order that they might be able to use the pocket handkerchief. They took them off the scarecrow. There had been rain during the night. There was water in the shoes, and the coat was somewhat shrunk. Benjamin tried on the tam-o'-shanter, but it was too big for him. Then he suggested that they should fill the pocket handkerchief with onions as a little present for his aunt. Peter did not seem to be enjoying himself. He kept hearing noises. Benjamin, on the contrary, was perfectly at home and ate a lettuce leaf. He said that he was in the habit of coming to the garden with his father to get lettuces for their Sunday dinner. The name of little Benjamin's papa was old Mr. Benjamin Bunny. The lettuces were certainly very fine. Peter did not eat anything. He said he should like to go home. Presently, he dropped half the onions. Little Benjamin said that it was not possible to get back up the pear tree with a load of vegetables. He led the way boldly towards the other end of the garden. They went along a little walk on planks under a sunny red brick wall. The mice sat on their doorsteps cracking cherry stones. They winked at Peter Rabbit and Little Benjamin Bunny. Presently, Peter let the pocket handkerchief go again. They got amongst flower pots and frames and tubs. Peter heard noises worse than ever. His eyes were as big as lollipops. He was a step or two in front of his cousin when he suddenly stopped. This is what those little rabbits saw round that corner. Little Benjamin took one look, and then half a minute less than no time, he hid himself and Peter and the onions under a large basket. The cat got up and stretched herself and came and sniffed at the basket. Perhaps she liked the smell of onions. Anyway, she sat down upon the top of the basket. She sat there for 5 hours. I cannot draw you a picture of Peter and Benjamin underneath the basket because it was quite dark and because the smell of onions was fearful. It made Peter Rabbit and Little Benjamin cry. The sun got round behind the wood, and it was quite late in the afternoon, but still the cat sat upon the basket. At length there was a pitter-patter, and some bits of mortar fell from the wall above. The cat looked up and saw old Mr. Benjamin Bunny prancing along the top of the wall of the upper terrace. He was smoking a pipe of rabbit tobacco and had a little switch in his hand. He was looking for his son. Old Mr. Bunny had no opinion whatever of cats. He took a tremendous jump off the top of the wall onto the top of the cat and cuffed it off the basket and kicked it into the greenhouse, scratching off a handful of fur. The cat was too surprised to scratch back. When old Mr. Bunny had driven the cat into the greenhouse, he locked the door. Then he came back to the basket and took out his son Benjamin by the ears and whipped him with the little switch. Then he took out his nephew Peter. Then he took out the handkerchief of onions and marched out of the garden. When Mr. McGregor returned about half an hour later, he observed several things which perplexed him. It looked as though some person had been walking all over the garden in a pair of clogs, only the footmarks were too ridiculously little. Also, he could not understand how the cat could have managed to shut herself up inside the greenhouse, locking the door upon the outside. When Peter got home, his mother forgave him because she was so glad to see that he had found his shoes and coat. Cottontail and Peter folded up the pocket handkerchief and old Mrs. Rabbit strung up the onions and hung them from the kitchen ceiling with the bunches of herbs and the rabbit tobacco. The end. Galatians 6:9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Galatians 6:9.